Tom, we're here today to talk about the new Bosch 3100 I-Series Microdome.
It's a fixed lens camera. They come in both an indoor version that's IK8 and an outdoor version that's IK10. So if you're in an environment, again, that you need, the higher vandal resistant, use the outdoor version, even in an indoor application. The big thing with this camera, because again, it's a fixed lens, you do have to be careful on which unit you're picking because it's not field adjustable at that point. So proper field of view is key.
Which means you sometimes might need a little help with field of view calculation on the lenses.
Exactly. So the indoors and the outdoor versions and then are variations, but then also you have resolution. There's a 1080 version, there's also a 5 megapixel. So again, depending on what you're looking for and to accomplish on your resolution side. The lensing you're looking at are the FO2s are wide angle lenses, and the FO2 is at the end of the part number. Those are typically 137 to 131 degree wide field of view. And again, we did some videos so you can see exactly how this is going to look. What's an environment you would use at a super wide angle?
We tried a couple things yesterday. Definitely in a place where you need a smaller camera that's architecturally pleasing, doesn't mind getting abused if somebody's going to beat on it because of the IK rating on it. The other thing I think that we found yesterday is with that FO2 lens option, you get a pretty decent field of view. So you can literally put it up in the corner of a very small area, something like an elevator or a lobby or something like that. And you're going to get the majority of the image in that area with that FO2. I think that's an improvement over the previous versions of the camera. With these two lens options, it really kind of opens up the application. One of the things we did yesterday was used it in a video to simulate an entrance where a person will pull up in a vehicle, roll the window down and use their card access, gets a great field of view. And with that FO2 lens, it's such a wide field of view that get the information of the driver that was there. So indoor lobbies or elevators, things like that, small storerooms, as well as that outdoor environment where it's a tight area where you're close to the camera with that FO2 lens. Did a great job.
Yeah. The other version we have then is the FO4, which is more the standard lens. And I know that's tough to say. The FO2 is wide, the FO4 is standard. 106 to 101 degrees now you're looking at. So you're not that super wide angle, but again, in a room environment, it does a really good job of general surveillance. But what are some other applications we'd use that camera for?
I think that because it's the standard lens, what I always like to say is whatever the distance you are from what your target is about the width of the field of view. It might be a little bit wider than that, but in general, that's kind of what I would use that for. So again, anything where you would have a general desire to see, a target or an object or a door or anything like that, people moving down a hallway, anything like that where it's not such a tight environment, just a normal, typical application for a camera, both inside and outside. Again, very small, very architecturally pleasing.
Yeah, because all these lens combinations are in the same package, same series of camera. And then the last one we have was the FO6. Now the FO6 is more of what we consider a telephoto, so 59 to 56 degrees. And again, typically, the application I'd see with that is if you're indoor, maybe looking down a long corridor or something like that, 100, 150 feet or longer. But what are some other applications for that telephoto camera?
Well, again, I think the general surveillance, but where you can't get close to the object or the field of view that you want. Gotcha. Again, anything where you can't get the camera up close or you've got a little bit more distance that you need to place the camera away to look at the target or the object that you're trying to surveil. Those are the typical applications that I see for that. You said a hallway, a garage, anything like that, where you're looking at a door from maybe a little bit further away or higher on a wall, something like that, or a small area outside of a door, small area inside of a door from a greater distance. So those are the kind of things that I think you would use that more telephoto lens option for.
Now there is another option with this series of camera. Now it doesn't come with every camera, but the FO4H and FO2H actually has an HDMI output from the device. So it's an analog HDMI out, but There's a special connector required for that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the connector?
Micro HDMI is the type of connector that it is. It's just a small connector. It's easily commercially available, but it gives you the ability to have a spot monitor close by or public view monitor, something like that, where you want to have a monitor of like from the outside of a door or viewing who's coming in and out of an area. Maybe you want them to see that as some sort of a deterrent or something like that.
Before we started filming this video, we actually put the HDMI output onto the screen.
Yep, great for that public view application. Short cable distance, probably gets you up to about 25 feet away, but great for that public view or just inside the door to see who's knocking on or pushing the button on the outside of the door.
And I guess one of the big things is that cable or connector does not come with the camera, so you got to make sure you either get that.
Cable's commercially available, so easy to get and easy to find.
Yep.
Micro SD card in the camera?
Absolutely, yeah, and it will support up to a 2 terabyte. So if you do need storage, at the camera, it gives you a solution that's simple and easy then at that point. The other big thing with this camera is, thing to remember, again, for every pro there's a con, you got to be careful. These are only PoE powered devices. So if you're in an environment where you're taking an old analog camera or you don't have a PoE switch, you got to be careful. You either need an injector or a mid-span then at that point. But it's standard, PoE. The CPP and the processing on these cameras are a little unique too. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
14.3.
Correct.
Brings to the table all of the new Bosch IVA functionality and feature set. Very impressive when we were playing with the camera over the past couple days. Its ability to identify objects accurately, person, vehicle, other objects that are in the field of view, maintain the capability of keeping the identification of the object, whether it's moving or it's still. It did a great job when we were doing all of the videos that we did, and Bosch has done a bunch of videos as well.
And with that, you have the 14.3 CPP, but it also comes included with IVA Pro Buildings included with the camera. So again, all those analytics that you just talked about are in there and are pretty much plug and play. There's very little programming and setup with those.
Right, the new really nice functionality of this new Bosch IVA, the Pro Building stuff and some of the perimeter pack that's not available for this camera, but the Pro Building pack, especially in this camera, literally you put it up, you don't need to worry about trying to do measurements or things like that. The camera's got a set of sensors in it that know how the camera's mounted and the angles that it is and so on and so forth. And literally you take it out of the box, plug it into your PoE switch or your PoE device and hold it up, and you'll be able to track people, vehicles very, very accurately and very, very quickly. So you don't have to spend hours and know all the angles and the heights and the things like that when it comes to setting the camera up like you did in the past.
So now we made everyone dangerous with this camera series, but if they have questions, who do they ask? Where do they go?
Well, the easiest way to get a hold of us and get answers for the question, get a demo, whatever you need, is contact us at support@midchest.com.